Well, folks, this week, Olivia Chow meets with CEOs to try to revitalize the downtown core. We also have taxpayers in Toronto paying $71,000 a month to store modular homes that are deemed temporary residences. Municipalities are doing their thing to make the housing crisis worse, and the rent report for May was not kind. What a week it's been. There is insanity going on in the city of Toronto and across this country. It's a fucking shit show. So let's start with Olivia Chow. She met with CEOs in the downtown core of Toronto, try to revitalize the downtown core. And I was golfing with a few folks this week who were very familiar with this meeting, and they were shaking their heads. Like, the Gardeners just about closed. It's down to one lane. The streets of Toronto are unsafe. There's homeless people all over the place, strung out addicts, acting like zombies, walking around, sleeping in transit facilities, TTC, subway stations, entrances, and stuff like that. Piss, poo, hanging out, messes all over the places, heroin, syringes, bandied about, and she wants to improve the downtown core. How about making it more safe for people? Traffic is a disaster. Have you been down to University Avenue? This is Hospital Row, Mount Sinai, Princess Margaret, sick kids, Toronto General. It's down to one lane. They put boulevards in the boulevards. So there is more boulevards on University Avenue than you could shake a stick at. There's 3 on each side. Like, there's one in the middle that everybody's used to, and now each direction of traffic is down to one lane because they've reduced it for bike lanes and another boulevard in that directional lane. It's absolutely insane. Nothing's moving. People complain about having to go to work and go downtown. Everything takes forever. And here's the problem. Nobody at the city's working in the office anymore. That's all determined on the manager of that department defining whether or not people need to come into work. Having dealt with this group at the city planning office, nobody's working in the office. They can't get any coaching from supervisors and the like on how to approve plans and stuff. It's an absolute mess. And to think that this mayor is trying to coax CEOs to try to bring people back to work, it'll create a mess. There's nothing down there. No one can get to work. It's basically a stop. I went to Montreal this weekend just to watch the race for the first time. First time been there, a lot of fun, great city. And on the way back, I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna take the train. So I took the train back, worried about the TTC strike. Thank God that didn't happen. Took the subway home, okay? Now, Saturday night, it was late. I didn't stay for Sunday, just went for Friday, Saturday. Came back Saturday night, and literally a homeless person took a dump in the subway car. 3 cars up, people were racing down telling us that this happened. It's like, come on, like, folks, we need a safe environment. If you want people to come back into the city, you want people to come back into the downtown core, you gotta clean up the city. It's a disaster. Now, what are municipal governments doing? They're jamming up development charges across this country, okay? Mayor in Burnaby, BC, just increased development charges by $50,000 per unit. A 1-bedroom condo would almost see an increase in price by about 10%. It's going across the board, okay? Mike Moffat, a great expert on housing, is pointing out that municipalities are going to kill and make the housing crisis even worse by trying to jam up development charges, which in fact gets passed on to the consumers. Governments seem to think that builders pay it. It's all bullshit. It's actually the end user that pays it. It gets passed on. Don't believe the lie. Affordable housing is not coming anytime soon. And when you have municipalities giving back the Housing Accelerator Fund dollars, i.e. Oakville, Ontario, nothing's going to get built. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And to just continue on this money that's wasted in the city. Jennifer Keesmaat put a post out today on X, and she pointed out that the taxpayers in Toronto are paying $71,000 a month to store modular homes that were intended to be temporary homes for people. Now, they're not even permanent homes, they're temporary homes. And get this, $36 million was spent on 59 temporary homes. Think about that. $36 million on 59 temporary homes. That's over $500,000 per home. That's temporary. And it's in storage. They're not even being used. Like, how the fuck can you put these people in control of our tax dollars? They are spending it blindly, like drunken sailors, and then they want to increase property taxes. Like, this is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, folks. Like, I can't make any sense of it. I saw a post today by Flavio Volpe. He's president of the Canadian the Auto Parts Manufacturers of Canada. He's been very vocal in getting, the Avro electric car built in Canada by Canadian parts manufacturers. Has been promoting it across the country and abroad. Okay, it's a Canadian-made EV vehicle. He posted a picture of him driving down University Avenue in fucking bumper-to-bumper traffic. There's no room. Like, everything's under construction for bike lanes. Like, who fucking is running the city? It's gonna go into the ground. Enough. I think I've had enough. Okay, rent report for May. So we know that building permits are down because no one's building anything. Rates are too high, development charges are too high, and the process to get any permits is at a snail's pace. So what's happening with rents? There was a trend where rents were coming down, but guess what? In May, they went up. They hit a record of $2,204 a month for an average apartment in Canada. But let's look at Toronto and Vancouver, biggest markets in the country. Vancouver, a one-bedroom, $2,671 a month on average. Toronto was $2,479. And God forbid you got a family and you need 2 bedrooms. Vancouver's at $3,628, and Toronto's at just under $3,300 a month. So folks, how are costs going to come down? How are rents going to come down when nobody is building? And here's the beauty. Of the purpose-built rentals that are being built, and there's a lot of those, purpose-built rentals, the asking rent on these new units is up 10.6%. So just because they're building purpose-built rentals doesn't mean that there's going to be a deal on them. There's no affordable rents, folks. This is an absolute, like, you're being lied to by all levels of government that, more and more affordable housing's coming. It's all a bunch of bullshit. So asking rents are up 9.3% year over year. In the last 5 years, asking rents are up on average of 4.7%. Nothing's coming down, folks. Everything's going up. And I'm sure landlords who have higher mortgage costs are passing that on to the tenant. So it's a real interesting time, and anything that is being told to you by government, take it with a grain of salt. We need to stand up to all these levels of government at municipal, provincial, and federal and say, fuck you, okay? Next election, you're gone. Like, just this capital gains tax inclusion rate going from 50% to 67%. Let's not try to make it think it's about fairness. It has nothing to do with fairness. This government has a interest cost bill on the federal debt that is upwards of $50 to $55 billion a year, and they got to pay for it. Okay? In order to pay for it, they need to increase taxes. That's the only reason why they're doing it. They need to continue their spending ways. this is only in dire need of cash flow. So, folks that are going to trigger a tax event before June 24th, they're getting a windfall. They're getting a huge windfall to pay for this interest cost that is going through the roof because rates have hit peak interest costs. Now, the Bank of Canada is coming down, but the federal government, they lock in their debt in 1 and 2 year terms. So they're locked in at some high rates that are yet to expire and renewed. So, they need money. They're going to tax like crazy, the carbon tax. They need that revenue. And if anybody believes that 8 out of 10 Canadians are better off with their refund on the carbon tax, then for fuck's sakes, let's triple the carbon tax if it's benefiting 8 out of 10 people. The reality is it's not. It's another load of bullshit. Okay, it's just a cash grab. And it's getting tiring because everybody's struggling. Everybody is having a harder time making ends meet. And every day we're dealing with folks and helping them achieve some reasonable sense of normalcy by restructuring their budgets, restructuring their finances, and helping them along the way. So if you do know of anybody that needs some assistance, we're here to help. We have some really good tools. And one of the more popular ones today is the Equity Release Program that a lot of folks over 55 are taking advantage of that doesn't have a payment obligation. This is something we're seeing more and more people talk about and look at as an option to give them some breathing room, eliminate that anxiety and stress, and give them some peace of mind knowing that, I don't have to make a payment. So folks, if you're interested in that Equity Release Program, give us a call. We'll be happy to help out. But the weather is getting better. Really happy that the Bank of Canada dropped their rate. It's still not enough to move the needle, but it is a good sign that rates are not going to be going up anytime soon by the Bank of Canada. And folks that have been waiting for that moment may be ready to buy and look at purchasing. But folks, we're still seeing a lot of listings, not a lot of buying. And it's good for buyers needing choice and being patient and being more comfortable with the buying process because they can use financing clauses, inspection clauses. You got wiggle room and negotiating power, and you're not going to be pressed to make quick decisions. Take your time, be patient, and you could probably get a better quality product today than you could 2-3 years ago in the height of FOMO and everybody's racing around just trying to get a piece of real estate. Now you have choice, you have the opportunity to do it comfortably and at your pace. So make sure you're dealing with a professional team that respects how you want to proceed, respects your time, respects your patience, and does things properly, crosses the T's, dots the I's, and make sure they're protecting your interest and not that of the seller, because things have shifted, folks. There's going to be choice. There's going to be more and more folks listening, and that only bodes well. Had Al Sinclair on my last podcast, my former panelist on CP24 Hot Property from years back. The video we reminisced about the show and talked a little bit about the market. I think it was a great episode. I know some people found it, a little bit difficult because of the views presented by Al. But listen, at the end of the day, it was a great episode. I think it was a lot of fun to do. I hadn't seen Al in a long time, so it was great to chit-chat. So if you have a chance, watch it on the YouTube channel, Owl Mortgage. It's on Spotify at the Wise Old Owl podcast, as well as Apple podcast. So I will leave it at that. Please share, subscribe, watch the show. Let me know what you think. There's a great way to communicate with me with your comments, so give me some insight. Love to know what else you want to see, what topics you want covered, and enjoy the weather. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Take care.